Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another live streaming of tax training. Tonight, our discussion will be about what happened after filing your income tax return. No? Kasi akala natin, our obligation will end only upon filing of our return. Hindi pa pala. Mayroon pang kasunod na mas matindi na obligasyon natin, and that is during tax audit. No? So, ano yung sunod natin na topic?
Discussion on tax audit.
Ayun. Yun ang susunod natin, no? Kasi what happened to your income tax return pag file ninyo, and then yun yung discussion natin about tax audit. Ano ba ginagawa during the tax audit? Okay? So, I would like to say thank you po. Meron na tayong 17,500 subscribers. Thank you very much. And for those na hindi pa nag-subscribe, please subscribe to our channel. And we promise to bring you more updates in taxation. Shout out, Harry.
Opo, good evening po. Shout out po kay Ma'am Melanie Barashari. Good evening daw po.
Okay.
And kay Sir Jeffrey Salceda, good evening po.
Okay.
Opo, sila pa lang po yung ano. Ito ma'am, nag-ano na sila. Ma'am Janet Alusiman, good evening daw po. Pati kay Ma'am Queenie Aguro.
Okay.
Opo, good evening po sa inyo.
Okay.
Opo, sila pa lang po ma'am. May 15 viewers na po.
Okay. So, good evening po sa ating 15 viewers, and let's discuss about what happened after you file your income tax return. Okay? So, when we file our income tax return, pasok na yan sa database ng BIR. Actually, the most awaited, yung mga pinakahihintay na tax returns is the income tax return. Why? Because our income tax return is the basis of audit ng BIR. Why? Because in our income tax return, show the whole year transactions or business transactions of the taxpayers. Kaya nga ang tawag dyan, information return. Why? Because may kasama dyan na information as to what is the result of operation of the taxpayer during the year. Because the government is very particular, as I told you, they are very particular about the income that you generate. Why? Because the income that the taxpayers generate, may share dyan ang gobyerno natin. And how much is the share of the government? Yun yung income tax rate, no? Halimbawa, you have an income for individual, you have an income of 500,000. Multiply that by the tax rate under the train law, then there it is, your income tax due. That is the share of the government in your income in the form of income tax. How about the corporation? Your total income for the year, less deductions, equals your net taxable income, multiply by the create law, no, rate, a tax rate, which is either 25% or 20%. And there it is, that is the share of the government. That's why the government is very particular or is interested in the result of your operation, because it will show the net income which is subject to tax, which is the share of the government in your business. No? Aside from the business tax na value-added tax or percentage tax. Okay. So when you file your income tax return, it will go directly to the database of the BIR kasi ano na ngayon, no? Online filing. So when it reaches the database of the BIR, kinaklasify po yan, and then the BIR will render a report, no, sa National Statistics Authority as to how many filers, sa NEDA, no? There are so many government agencies also that are interested in the result of the filing of the income tax, no? And then i-classify yung mga kind ng income tax return, and then bawat district will now prepare their list of priority on audit, no? Merong mga audit policy or guidelines na sinusundan itong mga revenue district office natin, and also yung large taxpayers, kasi depending on what is your classification as a taxpayer. Because if you are a large taxpayer, then you will be audited by the large taxpayers office under the office of the commissioner in the national office in Cebu and also in Davao, no? Tatlo yung ating large taxpayers office. And then if you are a regular taxpayer, then you are registered in the Revenue District Office. It is the Revenue District Office who will prepare the list of priority on audit, and then pinapadala po yan sa Commissioner for approval. And once your name is listed in the priority in audit, then the next step is for the BAR to issue a letter of authority, no? Kaya ngayon pa lang excited na din yung mga taga-BAR because they have the basis now na mag-issue na letter of authority based on the returns filed, no? So, sino yung mag-audit? May mga groups yan, no? Yung mga examiners, the assessment. May mga groups yan sila, may group supervisors, and under the group supervisor, may examiners, no? And then the unit is the assessment, no? Assessment unit. Then, once the letter of authority is issued, it will be delivered to you by the examiner. No? May mga procedural and technical requirements in the delivery of the letter authority. Pwede siyang through the email or courier, or pwede rin siya na personally rendered by the examiner. And during the delivery of the letter of authority, informing you that you are under tax audit, the examiner will also give you the list of requirements, no? So ano-ano yung mga nandun sa mga list of requirements. Nandun na lahat ng gusto niyang information na kailangan sa inyo, depending on the nature of your business also, no? So if you are a merchandising business, then manghihingi siya ng inventory ng inventory ng goods mo that are available for sale, or yung listing mo, no, during the taxable year. And then your books of accounts, no, the receipts, the purchases, the summary list of sales and purchases that you have, and lahat ng mga kailangan niya during the audit, nakadagay na doon yan sa listing, no? And yung iba, may ibang examiners na nanghihingi pa, no? But for those returns filed with the BAR, there was a memorandum na hindi na sila pwedeng manghingi sa taxpayer, no? But may ibang mga examiners na nanghihingi pa rin kasi mas convenient at mas mabilis, no, sa taxpayer ka manghingi. Then after sending you the letter of authority, or delivering to you the letter of authority with the notice, no, and the list of the requirements, after that, after 5 days, padadalhan ka na naman ngayon ng second notice, no? Second notice for the presentation of books and records. After that, hindi ka pa rin, no, bigay ng mga records, then padadalhan ka na ng final notice, no? So, ang kasunod noon, after the final notice, hindi ka pa rin nagbigay ng requirements, your books of accounts, your records, then the examiner will recommend you for the issuance of subpoena ducis tecum. Ano po itong subpoena ducis tecum? This is writ, no, requiring you to appear before the legal division ng BAR and bring with you the records na hinihingi ng examiner. Failure on your part to obey the summons or the subpoena ducis tecum, then the BAR will file a case in the court, no, for contempt of court. Why contempt of court? Kasi sinubpena ka na, hindi mo sinunod, no? And that is criminal violation in your part, no? You are criminally liable for that attending to the subpena, no? So pagdating na sa fiscal, you will again be summoned to appear on the court, and then bring with you the records na ni-require doon sa letter authority, no? Hindi ka pa rin nag-submit, then may kulong na, no? But some, since parang minor crime lang siya, available po ang bail, no? So yung sometimes the taxpayers nagbe-bail and then bigay ng requirements para hindi sila makulong. No? But there are many cases in court na hindi sila obey doon sa subpena, then a case is filed against them in court. No? Ano na pa yung ibang mga options ng BIR, no, sa investigation? May mga options pa rin ng BIR that sometimes pagka may mga violations talaga yung taxpayers, a case in the Department of Justice is filed, and it is for the Department of Justice to determine kung meron ba talagang cause of action na dapat i-file, kasi kung may probable cause talaga na may tax evasion, may violations yung taxpayers, then file po yan ng DOJ sa regular court, no? Sa RTC, sa Regional Trial Court. And then you have to face also kung ano man yung mga requirements, the summon darating. So there is already trial of the case, no? Nakarating na sa ordinary court or regular court. No? After that, sa BIR naman, halimbawa, you submit all your records, yung mga books of accounts mo. That's why, sabi nga natin dito, we endeavor to help the taxpayer in their compliance. No? Kaya nga yung nakalagay sa YouTube channel natin is tax training for better tax compliance. Actually, ano pa lang yan, parang intro pa lang yan. Intro pa lang yan yung compliance natin na filing of the return, payment of taxes. Intro pa lang yan sa obligations natin. Why? Because the complicated or the most difficult na compliance later on is that during audit. No? Why? Because during audit, it is the time that all your compliance requirements are being evaluated. And if you fail to comply with all of those requirements, then the examiner will assess a deficiency income tax or will impose penalties. No? So yun na yung kumbaga sa yung pinaka-core na obligation ng taxpayers. It is during the tax audit, and it is the most difficult part. No? Kasi when you file your return monthly, wala. Nobody will dictate you. Nobody will force you to declare what is supposed to be declared in your tax return, whether it will be income tax, percentage tax, or value-added tax, withholding tax. It's your own voluntary declaration. But during the audit, all compliance requirements, mandatory requirements provided by law will be audited. No? Kasi during the audit, the documents that you will submit, that would be evaluated based on those documents if you comply with the statutory requirements or the requirements required by law. Halimbawa, you are a pharmaceutical company, then the law in your financial and commercial transactions dictated or required by the Department of Health, it should be followed. No? So along that line, yung compliance mo, not only on the BAR requirements, but also on the DOH requirements. So, dapat magkakatugma yan sila. And what are the legal environment of business? The legal environment of business starts, if you are a corporation, started with your registration at the Securities and Exchange Commission. So, as a corporation, you have to follow the corporation code, the SRC rules and regulations. No, hindi lang sa SEC, all those laws na nakakabit doon sa SEC, just like yung mga trading ng securities, they are also regulated. So, as a corporation, lahat ng mga batas na yan, it must be followed. No? So, the Securities and Exchange Commission is, if you are a corporation, that is the first regulatory agency that you are going to follow. And then next is the barangay, because you have to apply for a barangay clearance, no, before you engage in business. So the barangay clearance, after the barangay clearance is the mayor's permit, no? So there are also ordinances or resolutions na pinapas itong ating mga local government units, and you are going to follow them. And then when you are done with the mayor's permit and the barangay permit, then you go to with the BAR to register again your business with the BAR for the payment of the national taxes. Because the local taxes are being implemented by the barangay and the mayor's permit, the national taxes is being administered, collected by the BAR. No? So, and there are many laws ang BAR that you are going to follow. Kaya nga, when you are in business, it is a must that you know the legal environment. What are the statutory requirements under the law that you are going to follow? No? Kasi kasama yan sa compliance requirements mo at during audit, kasama yan sa audit. No? So aside from the BAR, here comes now the SSS, no? Which are statutory also as a contribution for the benefits of your employees. And there is also the Department of Labor and Employment, which regulates the employer-employee relationship and also the wages being paid to the employee by the employer. No? So we also have the PhilHealth, no? Yung mga health benefits ng employees. We also have the pag-ibig, no? Kasi mandatory contribution yan as provided by law for the benefits that will be enjoyed by the employee, no? So mandatory din po yan. So if you are a PESA registered enterprises, then there is also a law that you are going to follow, no? Kung BOI registered enterprises ka, the same. If you are a shipping company, meron tayong marina or the maritime authority, no, that you are going to follow. If you are a transportation company, then meron din tayong LTO, the Land Transportation Office, that you are going to follow also the rules and regulations and the registration requirements. If you are airline company, then meron tayong ATO, no? Yung Air Transportation Office ba yun, no? Basta ATO siya. And you are going to follow also the requirements, no? So if you are in business, ang dami pong business laws that you are going to follow. And during the tax audit, kasama po yan sa audit. Kasama yan sa ini-evaluate yung compliance mo for that. And if there are some requirements that should be needed or required, then you are going to produce it for the BAR audit. Kasi yung mga documents that will be required from you, that will be attached to the report of the examiners. No? Kanina lang we talk with some of the group companies about the BAR Form 1709, which is the documentation of related party transactions. No? So those documentation na yun should be attached, no? The BAR Form 1709 should be attached in the annual filing of tax return. Or it should be submitted through EAFS, yung electronic audited financial statements, no? Na system po ng BAR. And then, there you are. So, kung nakapag-comply ka na with all the requirements, then good for you. Because if not, and may mga deficiency or may mga lacking compliance ka, that will be taken against you and penalties will be imposed, no, ng examiner. And during the tax audit, ito na, ano yung dapat nating malaman during the tax audit? Kasi, dinidiscuss pa lang natin what happens after you file your income tax return. No? So, yung sabi natin, after filing your income tax return, the BIR will segregate or classify all the returns and then make a priority list for audit. No? Kasi actually, yung pinaka bottom line ng filing of the returns is the tax audit, no? Because during the tax audit, the examiner will ascertain your tax compliance. And if you comply with all the requirements, then kung ano man yung findings ng examiner, bibigyan kayo ng notices, no? Notice of discrepancy, and then the assessment. Pag binayaran nyo yun, then you are already cleared during that year, no? But even if there is already notice of discrepancy issued to you and you pay it, But later on, some under declaration in your income tax return surfaced, no? Meron ka palang mga nakalimutan o hindi sinama dyan sa income tax return that you filed. And it is not available during the tax audit. Then, you will be audited again, no? Hindi lang yun magpo-focus doon sa newly discovered or yung undeclared information hindi ka nasama on the previous, but everything parang you will be again subjected to another round of tax audit, no? And there are some taxpayers na 2 or 3 times sila on the same taxable year na audit. Why? Because there are some documents that surface later na hindi nakasama dun sa una na tax return, no? Just like in the case of Senator Manny Pacquiao, meron na siyang clearance on the taxable year, but during the tax fraud audit, na meron siyang mga hindi na-declare na income sa US during his game, no, sa boxing, he again was subjected to another tax audit, no? So the BAR is not barred from examining again your tax return if it is found that you have some undeclared income, no? So pwede. Okay. So, upon filing your income tax return, so be sure na tali lahat yan. Kaya nga, we also have our discussion on the do's and don'ts in filing your income tax return. Why? Kasi may mga dapat na bagay na gawin mo during the filing of the tax returns mo, and then meron ding hindi, no? And ano yung pinaka number one? Reconcile all your sales and purchases and see to it na they are all disclosed or declared in your income tax return, na wala kang nakakalimutan, so that later on walang deficiency na makita yung or third party information na makita yung examiner, and clear ka talaga during the audit. You will not be subjected again to another audit kasi it's very costly po, no? In my experience, I do audit work for 29 years po sa BIR. And my experience is that during the tax audit, it is very costly, no? Kasi seldom ka makakita ng perfect na return. Ito na sinasabi ko sa inyo, ha. That's why, if you have some accountants, if you have some bookkeepers na mangangako sa inyo, complied po tayo dyan. Di po yan totoo, no? Kasi sa dami ng sinasabi ko sa inyo na legal environment of the business, hindi, may ganoon tayo, talaga kayong makakaligtaan doon. No? Kaya, anong gagawin natin? And even some big countries, no, that their taxpayers are also demanding for tax certainty na pag nabayaran namin to dapat ganito na lang, wala na kami pambayan ulit. Wala pong tax certainty. Even the OECD, in their crafting of the their Center for Tax Policy and Administration, and their crafting policies for the global taxation, in which after crafting all those tax policies, that policies will be cascaded to different countries for adoption, no? And it will form part of their domestic legislation. Kasi sa international taxation, wala naman po tayong international tax law, no? Only domestic laws for tax purposes, no? Ang international taxation deals only with double taxation, no? Kaya na ang dinideal ng international taxation are mostly tax treaties, no? Right now, I am undergoing 6 months study in advanced program in international taxation. Ang dami-daming readings. Oh my goodness. Sakit na naman ang mata, no? Although it is a webinar and the fee is 100,000, no? Kasi much cheaper sa online as compared na pupunta ka pa sa Netherlands mismo and take the study there. It will cost you millions of peso, no? Converted na sa euro money. So, millions pa rin. That's why very expensive. That's why very thankful po tayo in the mga online programs, because we were able to attend all those mga seminars na ang mamahal, but cheaper because through online. At saka, cheaper pa rin because hindi ka na pupunta, dito ka na lang sa place mo. So, nakakatipid sa lahat, sa transportation and then sa accommodation, no? And ano yung tinatawag natin na tax certainty? Wala talaga tax certainty because the moment you file your returns, hindi ka 100% that you comply all with the rules and regulation or the laws governing your business. So during the tax audit, yung BIR mag-a-assess sa inyo and during the tax audit, bibigyan ka ngayon ng assessment notice on the discrepancy. No? So, bayaran ninyo yan kung later on, wala namang makikita sa inyo na mga undeclared income, then sufficient na yun. Hindi na kayo mau-audit ulit. No? Okay. So, in connection with that, sabi na natin na ano ba yung tax audit? Paano ba ginagawa yung tax audit? Yun yung sabi natin that you will be issued a letter of authority and then may mga requirements po silang ipapadala sa inyo. And based on that requirements, when you submit your documents, yung summary list of sales and purchases, the inventories, your sales invoices, your official receipts, then that will be assessed by the BIR. Sa large taxpayer, may iba naman silang procedure, no? Kasi yung audit ng large taxpayers, meron pa silang tinatawag na computer aided tools and techniques which has a laboratory in the national office. And that computer aided tools and techniques, yung dakit ng examiners during the assessment, dadaan pa yan doon sa CAATS lab. And then, whatever is the findings of the CAATS lab, kasi yung software audit yun eh, no, that will be attached and form the basis also of the findings that the examiner will assess. So, kasama po yung result doon sa CAATS laboratory. No? And in connection with the, sabi natin na tax audit, merong extension. No? Itong April 5, 2021, because nga of the COVID, merong extension of the deadline for the filing of position papers, replies, protest documents, and other similar letters and correspondences in relation to ongoing BIR audit investigations, no? Or the filing of VAT refund or VAT credit, no? Sa VAT Credit Audit Division or VCAD in the National Office. So ano po itong mga extended deadlines? For position paper and supporting documents in response to notice of discrepancy. Kailan na nagkaroon ng notice of discrepancy? Yung notice of discrepancy in audit, bibigay na yan ng examiners after a thorough audit of your documents presented to the examiner. No? So kung meron na siyang findings doon, then magbibigay na siya ng notice of discrepancy. No? And the extended deadline under April 5, no, dated April 5, 2021 po itong Revenue Memorandum Circular 45-2021, the extended deadline for the position paper submission is 30 days from lifting of the ECQ. So, na-lift na ba yung ECQ? Hari?
MECQ na lang.
So, kung lifted na, then start na yung 30 days, no? Meron tayong shout out?
Meron po.
Sige, shout out muna before we proceed.
Shout out po kay Ma'am Maricel Galido.
Okay.
And good evening po kay Lily Salvacion.
Okay.
And kay Sir Efren Presidente, watching from Davao City.
Wow! Maayong gabi sa tanang taga Davao, no? When I was assigned kasi sa large taxpayer Cebu, wala pang large taxpayer noon ang Davao. That's why when we do audit, Visayas, Mindanao, no? The scope is very big. That's why I always used to go to Davao, no? I have several taxpayers that has been audited there, no? So, Davao is a beautiful place. Talagang busog na busog ka sa fruits, no? Para bang I feel na the place is so blessed. Why? Kasi makita mo yung mga puno, talagang parang hindi na nila kaya yung bunga nila, no? That's why sabi ko, ang lahat ng biyaya or the resources is really coming from God, no? Kasi ano mo, puno lang siya. Bakit napakadami ng mga bunga, no? Kasi talagang, kumbaga sa ano, may nagbibigay talaga sa atin, no? Very beautiful place. Next.
Apo. Next po ma'am, good evening daw po, sabi ni Ma'am Mary Jane Onal.
Okay.
And good evening din po, sabi ni Ma'am Lilian Yao.
Nandiyan na rin si Ma'am Lilian.
Apo,
Okay po.
shoutout din po kay Ma'am Queenie Aguro.
Okay.
And kay Sir Eugene Cruz, good evening daw po.
Sir Eugene Cruz, thank you sa ulam. Okay.
And kay Miss J, good evening daw po.
Okay.
And kay Jel Cinco.
Okay.
Shoutout din po kay Ma'am Lilia Fernando. Good evening po.
Ay, wanted ka na. Wanted ka na, ma'am. Wanted. Sige. Okay.
And then, kay Ma'am Malu Sintos and kay Hana, good evening po.
Okay.
And kay Hilda Rodriguez and kay Ninoy Lumanog,
Okay.
good evening po. Sila pa lang po, ma'am.
Okay. So, ilan yung viewers natin?
36 po.
Okay. So, good evening po sa lahat ng viewers natin, no? What we are discussing tonight is what happened after filing your income tax return. And ano ba yung tax audit na sinasabi nila? Why? Kasi yung sabi ko pa nga sa inyo is intro lang yung filing natin ng tax returns, mga VAT returns natin, income tax return. Parang pahapyaw pa lang yan na obligations natin. Our real obligations, makikita yan during the tax audit. No? Kasi how will you know the sufficient na yung pag-file mo ng income tax return? During the tax audit. Why? Kasi nag-file ka nga ng income tax return, pero ang dami mo namang hindi sinama ng mga income mo, no? That will be discovered during the tax audit. And remember today that we are living in a digitized world. Pag sinabi mo digitized world, recorded po lahat yan. May databases po yan, no? That's why we are being monitored and evaluated, and we are assigned tax identification number. Why? Kasi yung tax identification number, yun yung kinikip track natin regarding dun sa ating mga tax compliance. No? So, our discussion tonight is about what happened after filing your income tax return and also the discussion on tax audit. Kasi after that you file your income tax return, the most awaited return po na pinafile sa BIR. After that, ika-classify na yan ng BIR and then list of priority and audit pa-approve sa commissioner. Pagkasama yung pangalan ninyo doon, pagbalik niyan, meron na yung ipiprepare na letter of authority that will be assigned to the examiner. It will be served to you by the examiner for audit. No? At during the tax audit, ito na yung kumbaga sa experience as a tax practitioner. Kahit na kasi sabi mo na yung client mo is under audit, parang ikaw din yun under audit, na nakaka-stress din, no? The reason why I availed of the early retirement in the BIR is for me to, sabi nga ng mga kasamahan ko, I want to know what is life outside the BIR. Kaya nga sabi ko sa kanila, I will be sitting in the opposite side of the table. Bakit opposite side of the table? Sabi ko, kayo yung mag-audit sa akin, ako naman ang i-audit nyo. Kasi for 29 years, I do audit work. So I sit on the opposite side of the table. Ako yung nag-audit, ako yung nagdidiman ng documents. Sabi ko ngayon, gusto ko ma-experience naman na ako na naman yung ino-audit kasi I will practice. So pag may kliyente ako, siyempre ikaw yung haharap during the tax audit. No? So I want to experience what's life outside the BIR. And I really experience it. No? Parang sabi ko, it's a nightmare talaga. But since ginusto mo, so pangangatawan mo. Ako kasi yung tao na, yung parang aso ba, na habang nasasaktan, lalong tumatapang. Kasi ako yung tao na ayoko yung hindi lalaban. Kasi hindi ko alam pero siguro nature mo talaga. Ayoko hindi lalaban. At pag sinabing, ang hirap naman ito, hindi ako hindi ako yung go away with labanan. Gusto ko harapin talaga. Pero Diyos ko, naranasan ko, sobrang hirap po talaga. And then, nakaka-stress, no? Pag ikaw na yung under audit, kaya sabi ko, sa dami-dami ng taxpayers na in-audit ko for 29 years, yung minsan ka lang na maka-experience ng audit, it's really worth it all. Danas na danas mo na kung gaano kahirap ma-audit, no? Di mo alam eh, kahit kumakain ka, parang di ka mapakali, no? So sabi ko, ganito pa rin nararamdaman ng mga na-audit. Why? Because there is really tax uncertainty. Bakit ka natatakot? Because hindi mo alam what is the result of the audit. And the result of the audit is very costly, especially kung kulang na kulang ka ng documents, no? That's why sinasabi ko nga, ayoko na mag-practice, no? Sabi ko, mag-lecture na lang ako kasi in my lecture, pagtapos ko mag-lecture, wala na akong responsibility. But during your client and CPA relationship, yung ginawa mo mga returns, ginawa mo na audit work with your clients during the audit ng BAR, maki-question ka pa, no? Ngayon, iba na naman yung pinasok ko na level, no? Yung transfer pricing documentation, transfer pricing analysis report. Mas matindi pa po yun kaysa sa financial statement. And sa experiences ko sa cases presented in court, no? Sa ibang bansa, during the resolution of the case, pinapapresent sila ng transfer pricing documentation nila, yung transfer pricing analysis report. And yung gumawa noon are also summoned by the court to explain. Kaya sabi ko, ito na naman. I'm doing transfer pricing analysis report. Pag nakarating ang case sa court, ikaw na gumawa, nag-express ng opinion on the transfer pricing analysis, na sinabi mo arm's length yung kanilang pricing, dadalhin ka na naman sa korte and then explain kung bakit mo kinonsider na arm's length yung kanilang pricing, no? Kasi yun yung purpose ng transfer pricing. Dapat fair yung pricing ng related parties. Same with that of the independent parties. Kaya nga, pagdating po sa audit, naranasan ko na sobrang hirap. Dati, tumatawa lang ako sa mga CPA, sa mga practitioner. Wala lang. Basta sabi ko, the more na nag-audit ka, hingi ka lang ng hingi. Ang hirap pala pag ikaw na yun nagpo-provide, no? Kaya yung sabi ko naman on the other side, sabi ko advocacy ko na rin yung how to help the taxpayer. Kaya nga yung ating babalik na naman yung ating bookkeeping. Why? Because for me, bookkeeping is the heart of tax compliance. Why? Kasi kahit sino pa magsabi sa inyo ng mga espesyalista pagdating sa audit, bali wala po lahat yung espesyalista na yan pagka wala kayong dokumento, no? Try to take a look at the Republic Act 11534 on tax-related documentation. Nandyan na. Why? Kasi talagang batas na po yan ang documents. Pagka wala kang documents, kahit anong ganda pa ng presentation mo, takutin mo pa yung examiner. Ang labanan po dokumento pagdating na sa kaso, no? Tingnan nyo yung nangyari sa case ng decedent na si Claire de la Puente. Anong nangyari sa kanya? Yung mga allegations niya, bali wala sa court. Why? Kasi wala siyang document to support it. Sino nanalo? The allegations of the BAR and the LTO kasi sila may dokumento na pinapakita, no? Kaya during the tax audit, what counts are your records, are your documents, no? Kaya ano po sabi ng OECD during the seminar that I attended, no, conducted by the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, who is the one in charge of the Center for Tax Policy and Administration in the world. Ano sabi nila? Please tell your client, tell your taxpayers to invest in documentation. No? Kasi walang magaling na consultant kung walang dokumento ang kliyente. Kaya saan nagmumula ang tax audit? Sa compliance. At saan magagaling yung compliance? Sa simple lang na bookkeeping. Na akala natin, bookkeeping wala lang yan. That's why I want to redefine bookkeeping for for taxation purposes, no? Gusto ko, actually, ang dami ko na gusto na umpisahan, but I want to redefine the meaning of bookkeeping when it comes to tax compliance. Why? Kasi bookkeeping talaga is the heart of tax compliance, no? Akala natin yung simple natin na day-to-day activities na nire-record natin sa libro, wala lang yun. But it really counts when it comes to tax audit. And especially so, lamang na lamang ka if your daily transactions are recorded and meron kang mga valid supporting documents. Kasi kung recorded man yan, pero wala namang support, nilagay mo nga sa libro mo, pero wala ka namang resibo, then wala pa rin, no? So, dapat lang recorded siya and at the same time with a valid supported documents. And ano yung valid of supported documents natin? Official receipts and sales invoice, no? Okay. Marami ng question, ano?
Sakto lang.
Sakto lang. Sakto lang. Okay. So, I just want to give emphasis kasi po sa tax audit. Bakit? Kasi dito natutrauma ang taxpayer. Dito rin natutrauma yung tax professional at saka yung tax consultant, no? So, during the tax audit, ano yung dapat gawin? Prepared na tayo. So, ang preparation kasi dito for a better tax compliance is not done na during the preparation ng financial statements. Hindi po yun. Ano yun? During the business transactions. Kaya ang bookkeeping natin is day-to-day. Kaya ang bookkeeping requirements natin sa sales lang. At the sales for today should be recorded not later than 5 o'clock the following day. So, ibig sabihin, ang compliance natin na ipapakita natin during the tax audit is really a day-to-day compliance when we make our business transactions. No? Ano yung requirements sa documentation under the Revenue Regulations 2-2013? Documentation should be sufficient and verifiable. No? When we say sufficient, dapat kompleto siya, hindi kulang. And when we say verifiable, there is a third-party information or official information that will tell us na talagang tama itong information na ginawa natin. No? Okay. So, going back to Revenue Memorandum Circular 45-2021, ito yung mga extended deadlines dahil nga sa ECQ. So, for the reply and supporting documents in response to the Preliminary Assessment Notice or PAN, ano naman po itong Preliminary Assessment Notice or PAN? Ito yung nagbigay ka na ng libro, nagbigay ka na ng documents, in-evaluate yun ng examiners, magpapadala siya ngayon sa iyo ng Notice of Discrepancy. No? Tingnan mo yung Notice of Discrepancy, Hari, andyan sa Revenue Regulations 22-2020, no? Yung tinatawag natin na Notice of Discrepancy, ano nakalagay diyan? Considering natapos na yung audit, yung mga records nyo, nakapagpadala na kayo ng books, ng mga official receipts nyo, all the inventory, the schedules, no, nandun na. So, na-evaluate na siya ng examiner. So, based on the evaluation of the examiner, meron siya nakita na mga discrepancy in your record. So, padalhan kanya ng Notice of Discrepancy. Nandiyan na. Okay. So, yung Notice of Discrepancy, meron siya nakalagay dyan na date, and then the full name of the taxpayer, and then the address, no? And then, sinasabi niya dito, Sir or Madam, please be advised that we have submitted the report of investigation on your internal tax liabilities for taxable year. The frequency for audit dito sa atin sa Pilipinas is 1 taxable year, and that is composed of 12-month period. No? 1 taxable year is 12 months. For taxable year 2, pursuant to letter of authority number and dated, no, to the Revenue District Office, Chief of this office. The said report includes the details of discrepancy. Meron niyang schedule, no, na ipapadala din sa taxpayer. As a result of the aforestated investigation, please take note that this is not yet a deficiency tax assessment. Yung notice of discrepancy, that is part of the due process. Kasi hindi maging final yung assessment if it will not undergo due process informing the taxpayer na ito yung findings, to give time to the taxpayer to dispute your findings. No? So in observance of procedural due process pursuant to Section 228 of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended by Republic Act 8424, ito pong Republic Act 8424 po, ito yung CTRP, no? Yung 1997 Republic Act 8424 Comprehensive Tax Reform Package, no, that overhauled the taxation system of the Philippines no 1997, no? And Section 2 of Revenue Regulation 7-2018, dated 22 January 2018, you and or your authorized. Itong 7-2018, ito naman yung sa regulations, no, sa pagbibigay ng notice, no, na kasi pinalitan na nila ng notice of discrepancy dati to preliminary assessment notice or the PAN, no. Then within 5 days from the date of receipt thereof, to enable you to present and explain your side on the discrepancies noted by the investigating revenue officer. You may submit at the discussion whatever documentary evidence you may have to reconcile and refute the noted discrepancies. Your counsel, authorized representative, may assist you at this discussion or may represent you thereat should you be unable to present on said date. In the event that you shall be represented by your counsel or any other duly authorized representative, said counsel or representative must be so authorized in writing in accordance with the required authorization document by the BAR. So, ano yung required authorization document ng BAR if you authorize somebody to represent you dito sa BAR to discuss the notice of discrepancy? Yun po yung pag corporation ka, yung board resolution o secretary certificate authorizing your lawyer or accredited tax agent to represent the taxpayer in court. Pagka individual naman, special power of authority, no? So please be advised, however, that failure on your part to appear on the scheduled date of discussion without prior notice to the Bureau will be construed as a waiver of your right to a discussion of discrepancy and as an indication that you have no objections to the Bureau's findings at this level. So you will be declared in default. Parang amenable ka na doon sa findings ng BAR. Furthermore, failure on your part to reconcile and present valid documentary support. Take note ha, nandiyan talaga yung documentary support against the noted discrepancies will result in the issuance of a deficiency tax assessment. Accordingly, a preliminary assessment notice or PAN covering that aforesaid deficiency tax assessment shall immediately be sent to you. Yun na yung preliminary assessment notice after the notice of discrepancy. Meron ng PAN or preliminary assessment notice, no? Na i-issue sa iyo kasi magiging final na later on yung assessment, no? Part na rin yan ng process to finalize the assessment. We trust therefore that this matter will merit your preferential attention, no? So sino magpapadala dito, the Revenue District Officer or the Chief of Investigating Office. Noted by the authorized signatory, received by. Dito sa receive, very particular na po tayo ngayon kasi ito yung nate-technical parati sa court, no? So there is the full name, position, and signature of taxpayer or taxpayer's authorized representative. Kasi dati, natatalo yung case ng BAR pagka pinareceive lang sa security guard, no? Kung sino yung mga nandyan lang. Pero ngayon, if the security guard is the authorized representative of the company, kasi hired din nila yun eh, no? So, po pwede na. Basta ilagay nyo dito na taxpayer's authorized representative ko sila. And then there is a contact details and then date of receipt, no? Ang karamihan na nakikita ko ng mga case, nasabi ko, very weak talaga. Pero inaalaw naman kasi ng court yung technicalities as to yung kung sino yung nag-receive, no? Sabi ko para sa akin, ang BIR pinapabayaan naman, hindi rin nagmo-motion for reconsideration na pwede naman din i-dispute nila na yung security guard is also an employee ng company. At sila yung nandyan. So sila yung authorized na mag-receive. Otherwise, hindi nila i-receive. Ini-receive nila. No? But ngayon, maganda na kasi sa rules of court, sa rules of procedure, no? Ngayon, mas pinagaan na yung requirements sa pagre-receive ang technicalities, no? Even email, yung notices sent through email are already valid proof of service of notice, no? Kaya nakakatuwa, sabi ko, talagang iba na ang ano ngayon, ang mundo kasi digitized world na, mas napapagana yung trabaho. No? And then balik po tayo sa 45-2021. So the reply and supporting document in response to the preliminary assessment notice 15 days from lifting of the ECQ. No? Protest letter in response to the final assessment notice, formal letter of demand, 30 days from lifting of ECQ. Ito yung mga extended deadlines. Transmittal letter and supporting documents in relation to request for investigation, 30 days from lifting of the ECQ. Speaking of request for investigation, ito yung tip ko sa mga taxpayers natin, at saka sa mga accountants, sa mga practitioners natin. Kasi, when you receive your notice of discrepancy, pwede kang mag-request ng reinvestigation or reconsideration. No? So, mamili ka doon. Ano ba ang i-request mo? Reconsideration or reinvestigation? When we say reconsideration, malimit na lang yung examiner doon sa findings niya. No? And then you will not be required to produce another round of documents to support. Kasi nag-request ka lang ng reinvestigation, reconsideration. So, i-reconsider mo yung findings ng examiner. But, if you request for reinvestigation, pinahirapan mo ang sarili mo. Bakit? The examiner is not barred, no? Na i-confine lang niya yung kanyang findings doon sa previous findings. Kasi newly document presented na ito during the reinvestigation. So ano yun? Pwedeng i-abandon na nga nila yung previous nila na findings at ito na yung bago. No? Na gamit ko talaga yan during my stay in the BIR na ako yung nag-audit. Ang ginagawa ko, sige, ayaw mo pala yung previous findings. Nag-request ka ng reinvestigation. Di dagdagan natin. No? Kasi sa totoo lang, ang dami mo makikita talaga. Ang dami mo makikita. Kaya nga may joke pa yung, gusto ko nga dito sa YouTube channel ko, may mga tax jokes ako no? So, wait for it. Kasi, may mga jokes pa nga yung mga examiners noon na naririnig ko, especially yung mga old traditional na, na mga examiners, na mga field officers, no? May sinasabi pa sila na, yun nga daw, 10 commandments, 10 lang, 10 lang. Hindi pa siya nasusunod, hindi pa siya fully complied with. How much daw pa yung tax code, di ba, bago ang create law, ilan lang yung ating provisions or mga sections sa tax code. 200 plus, no? Kasi ngayon nadagdagan na nung part 13 So sabi niya, ang 10 commandments, 10 lang, hindi pa nasusunod. How much pa yung tax code na mahigit 200 na sections, no? So, paano mo mamasabi na it is fully complied with? So, ibig sabihin, pag nag-audit ka talaga, ang dami mo talaga makikita na discrepancy, no? Kasi hindi naman lahat yan na nasusundan ng taxpayer o na-comply with, no? Okay. So, anong masasabi ko dito sa request for investigation? Please lang, huwag nyo nang pahirapan yung sarili. Pero kung gusto nyo pang pahirapan, then request for investigation. Wala tayong magawa dyan. Gusto nyo yan Request for investigation. So, anong gagawin ng examiner? Bibigyan kayo ng time to to produce, no? Ilang number of days yan. And then, go over naman yung examiner. Mag-iimbestiga siya ulit, no? So, yung mga hindi niya nakita nung previous na original investigation, posibleng madadagdagan yan during the reinvestigation. No? Kasi as a consultant, ito consultant din ako ng mga revenue officers eh. Kasi di ba sabi ko sa inyo na during my stay in the BIR for 17 years, trainer din ako ng BIR, no? So, nagkakanda ako mga seminars, yung mga participants ko are also mga revenue officers. So, hanggang ngayon, yung iba, pumupunta din yan sa akin. And I don't discriminate, no? Basta client as tax consultant, client ka, whether coming from the government, coming from your client na private, talagang lahat sila are welcome, no? Kasi ako naman, I'm fair, kaya nga ayoko nagbubulagaan. Dapat, kung halimbawa nagbabasa kayo ng libro, you must be reading in the same page, no? Hindi yung iba yung alam ng isa, iba yung alam ng isa, and then bubulagayin mo yung taxpayer. I don't like that. All is fair, no? Lay down all na knowledge and information, and then let them choose compliance. Kasi kung ayaw nila, they choose penalties, no? So, during the request for reinvestigation, ano yung advice ko sa mga examiners? You can even abandon yung unang result yun, ng audit. Why? Kasi reinvestigation na to eh. The taxpayer open itself to a new findings. Eh, may mga bagong findings. Kasi noong unang pina-evaluate sa akin, yung request for investigation, noong unang tingin ko pa lang sabi ko, mahina yung consultant. Bakit? 4 million lang ang deficiency nung original. Nung original na examination. Pinotest pa niya. Sabi ko, mahina. Bakit? Sabi ko kasi kung ako ang tax consultant dito, i-question ko lang yung mga technicalities ng ibang account, pero pabayaran ko na sa kliyente. No, ganyan po ako nag-a-advise. Ayoko yung mga promises sa oy, magaling ako eh, natin yan, question natin yan, wala yan, gano'n. Ayoko ng ganyan. No? Kasi pinapahirapan mo lang yung kliyente mo. So, sabi ko, unang tingin ko lang sa assessment, sabi ko, mahina yung tax consultant or ang management. Why? 4 million lang yung deficiency sa laki ng business nila at saka ang dami pang findings na pwede, no? Hindi pa nila binayaran. So, sige, sabi ko, sige, you ask for this, no? Ito na. Ang dami ko nakita sa inventory turnover ko sila dinali. And then sa mga loans nila, yung mga assignment nila ng accounts receivable, na karoon ng assessment of more than 60 million, no? So nagpanic yung kanilang head office abroad. And then anong ginawa? Nakikiusap na naman, nag-consent sila doon sa previous na findings na 4 million. Bakit 4 million lang daw ginawa na 60 million? Sabi ko, you request for the investigation. Tapos na 4 million lang yung yung findings. Eh, bakit pa kayo nanghingi ng reinvestigation? Pinapadagdagan nyo pa yung findings. Oh, so ito ngayon, we give you a dose of your own medicine. Ano yun? Eh, di dagdagan yung findings. Sa dami naman ang pwedeng findings. Alam nyo, sa pag-o-audit, ang daming source of discrepancy po, no? Magmula sa balance sheet accounts, ilang accounts yan nandyan. Posible na bawat accounts may magkaroon ko ng findings dyan. Ang isa pa, nakikita ko sa property, plant, and equipment, sa claim ng depreciation. At saka sa pag-claim ng depreciation, alam mong ginagawa ng iba. Sabi ko, alam mo yung iba, common sense lang ang pag-audit eh. Common sense lang. Magdagdag siya ng maraming asset during the year, and then magdi-dispose siya, and then mag-claim siya ng napakaraming depreciation. No? Sabi ko, dali nito. Bakit? When we depreciate at cost, when we add additions to the property, plant, and equipment, may resibo. Oh, pag may disposal ka, may deed of sale. Lahat yan. Tapos hanapan mo, wala siyang document. Disallow. No? Diyos ko. Sabi ko, ito, naghahanap lang ng problema. So ngayon, dadagdagan yung kanilang discrepancy. So, do you think yung examiner papayag pa doon sa original na 4 million? Payag na kami, bayad kami ng 4 million. Do you think yung examiner na pinahirapan mo papayag pa? Hindi na. No? Hindi na. Kasi you request for investigation, tapos na yung kaso mo. Parang you open yourself to another round of findings or discrepancy. Kung alam nyo naman na based on your records, ang daming mga gray area, doon na kayo sa kung saan kayo magkakaroon ng tax savings. No? Kasi ang pagbabayad po ng tax, may ano din yan kung baga sa saan ka nakakatipid. No? Alam mo naman na pupunta ka sa korte, magpo-protest ka, wala kang dokumento, later on kawawa ka pa. No? Ito lang yung advice ko sa mga taxpayers kasi yung tax consultant, hindi yan kawawa. Talo, manalo yung kaso, bayaran mo yung consultant. Pero kasi ako, as a consultant, hindi ko inisip na talo, manalo to, babayaran ako. Hindi po. Sinaawa ko sa client na may anxiety na, depressed na, natetense na during the audit. And then ito pa yung result lalong nakakahimatay. And isipin nyo na lang na that is only for one taxable year. Ang dami pa. Yearly yan. Pero mo yun na yearly yung taxpayer mo matitense o madidepress. No? So, dito sa request for investigation, kung pwede lang, do not request for investigation. Unless na solid talaga yung findings mo, all is documented, sa technicalities, alam mo na 100% compliant ka, pero kung hindi, do not request for re-investigation. Request only for reconsideration. No? Next is the request for reconsideration to the Commissioner of Internal Revenue on final decision on disputed assessment. Ilang days yung extended deadline? 30 days also from lifting of the ACQ. No? Ang tinitingnan po natin dito is Revenue Memorandum Circular 45-2021. No? And then, submission of documents in response to subpoena ducis tecum. Kung mayroon kayong subpoena ducis tecum at napadalhan na kayo, yung may time doon na binibigay sa inyo to submit. No? So, anong nilagay dito? 15 days from lifting of the ACQ. No? And then, we have submission of documents in relation to first, second, and final notice. Ito yung galing sa examiner. After delivering the letter of authority, no, bibigyan kayo ng first notice. Sa first notice kasi, nandoon na yung listing ng mga documents required for you to submit. No? And then, after 5 days, meron ng second notice. And then, after that final notice na, bago kayo ipadala sa legal for the subpoena. No? And how many days yung extended deadlines? We have 10 days from lifting of the ACQ. Other similar letters and correspondences is 30 days from lifting of the ACQ. Ito namang filing of VAT refund with the VAT Audit Division, which falls June, April 12, 2021 per RMC number 29-2021, 30 days from lifting of the ACQ. No? So itong Revenue Memorandum Circular 45-2021, dated April 5, 2021 po ito. No? Kasi nga, deadline na ng income tax and then ECQ pa, so binigyan tayo ng extended deadline. Para anong mangyayari dito? Para kung meron tayo notice of discrepancy, hindi sila magiging final. No? Okay. So, take note also of the Revenue Regulations 22-2020, dated September 15, 2020, no? Nakalagay dito yung notice of discrepancy, no? Dito yung first time na ginamit yung deficiency assessment, no? Kasi nagiging notice of discrepancy na siya. And this is giving the taxpayer due process bago i-finalize yung assessment. No? Pero ano po talaga ang pinaka-original na regulations po ng BIR when it comes to tax audit? Ito po yung Revenue Regulations 12-1999 although this was amended by Revenue Regulations 18-2013 and Revenue Regulations 7-2018, no? Ang maraming provisions na iwan pa rin na hindi na-amend dito sa 12-1999, no? So, mahaba po ito, pero i-direct ko lang kayo dito kung you want to know more about kung ano yung tax audit, then you refer yourself to this 12-1999, 18-2013, at saka yung 7-2018 na revenue regulations, no, para mas naintindihan ninyo kung ano yung mga rights ninyo, ano yung mga gagawin nyo pagka nagkaroon na ng tax audit o na-issuehan na kayo ng letters authority, no? Yung unang term doon sa notice of discrepancy is notice for informal conference. Dito sa 22-2020 ginawa na siyang notice of discrepancy, no? Yung dati is notice for informal conference. And then nandito din kung paano yung gagawin ng examiner during the preliminary assessment notice, no, yung PAN. And then nakalagay din dito yung mga procedure and then mga computations, no? So basahin niyo po ito for those na gusto pang to learn more about tax audit, yung mga sinasabi ko na regulations, marami po kayo matutunan diyan, no? Kasi once na alam niyo yung regulations on tax audit, kahit nasabihin natin may kaba tayo, maiibsan yan, mababawasan yan pag alam natin kung anong mangyayari sa atin during the tax audit, no? Kaya yung mga nag-file ng income tax return nila na sabi nila na relieve na sila, hindi pa po kayo relieve. Why? Kasi meron pa pong kasunod na tax audit na haharapin ninyo. No? Because the tax returns, the income tax return that you filed today will be audited tomorrow. Sige. Inom muna ako bago tayo mag-question and answer. Sige, Hari, marami ng questions?
Marami naman.
Okay, sige.
Shoutout muna ako, ma'am, sa mga bagong dating.
Oh, sige, shoutout muna.
Okay. Shoutout po kay Rodora Constantino.
Okay.
From Lucena daw siya, ma'am.
From Lucena, yeah. Ang ganda din ng Lucena, no? Place, no? Sakop, ang regional office ng BAR dyan is San Pablo. Okay.
And then, shoutout po kay Sir MJ Logar.
Okay.
And kay Marjun Miranda.
Okay.
Shoutout din po. And kay Ma'am Annalisa Rosauro. Good evening po.
Good evening.
And then kay Ma'am Josie Tindo Bambao. Good evening daw po.
Okay.
Pati po kay Ma'am Julie Alfonso.
Oo, nandyan pa rin. Sige.
Apo. And kay Miss Cha.
Okay.
Good evening po. Pati po kay Ma'am Criselda Quiacion. Good evening daw po.
Okay.
And shoutout din po kay Chloe Faburada.
Okay.
Ayan, sila pa lang, ma'am.
Ilan yung viewers?
42, ma'am.
Okay, so shout out po sa ating 42 viewers. Good evening po sa inyong lahat, no? And let's now go to the question and answer. And Hari, iniisa-isa ko yung mga questions sa mga videos natin. Ang dami na naman na hindi pa replyan, pero unti-unti po. Kaya nga meron tayong question and answers. Kasi yung pag isa-isa natin, imagine, so maligi 200 na yung videos natin, hindi na po kaya, no? Kasi wala tayong admin na kaya. Kaya we try as much as possible dito sa question and answers natin para hindi lang isang tao yung makinabang, no? Na marami. Sige.
Apo, first question, ma'am, galing kay Sir Jeffrey Salceda.
Okay po.
Question daw, ma'am, kailangan daw po ba ulit mag-register sa bagong EBIR 7.9 kahit naka-register na po dati?
Sige, sagutin mo, Hari. Sa iyo yan.
Siguro ibig sabihin niya dito, ma'am, yung pag-input ulit ng information from yung sa lumang version.
Okay.
Pag pinalitan ng bago. Pag nag-update po kayo into new version, basta po hindi nyo in-uninstall yung luma, nandun pa rin po yung dati yung data or information. So, no need na po ulit na mag-input ng information nyo. Unless sa ibang, ano nyo po, sa ibang PC nyo siya in-install.
Okay.
Yun po.
Ang ibig niya sabihin, kailan ba mag-register sa new version? Kailangan po, no? Bakit? Since there is already a new version, yung 7.9, yung 7.8, hindi nyo na gagamitin. But, sabi nga ni Sir Harry, yung 7.8 na version na yan, huwag yung walain kasi nandoon yung
Baga papatong lang yung bago.
record nyo. No? Kaya mag-reinstall na lang kayo nung bagong version. No? Since there is already a new version, hindi na po ninyo gagamitin yung 7.8. Ito na yung bago. Why? Kasi ito na yung bagong version, may mga features dyan, ang mga forms or may mga procedure dyan na bago na wala doon sa 7.8. Kaya, yung sabi mo na kailan ba mag-register sa bago, yes, kailangan po. No? At ito na yung gagamitin mo sa subsequent filing mo ng returns. Hindi na pwede yung 7.8. Pero wag mong walain yung 7.8 kasi nandoon na yung mga previously filed mo. Yung mga naka-file na doon, wag mo nang i-file ulit dito sa 7.9 kasi madoble ka. No? Okay. Next.
Next, ma'am, galing kay Queenie Aguro.
Okay.
Pag mag-audit po ang BIR, magbibigay po ba sila ng letter?
Yes po. And do not entertain BIR officers o kaya, alam nyo, ang daming nagpapanggap na BIR officers na fake. Do not entertain them kung wala silang letters of authority. Halimbawa, nagpa-receive sa inyo ng letters of authority, tapos nanghingi ng pera. Wag kayong magbigay. I-receive nyo lang, ano yung gagawin nyo? I-receive nyo lang yung letter of authority, and then, punta kayo sa BIR, dala yung letter of authority. I-verify nyo kung itong tao na to is really a BIR employee at totoo siyang nandoon, no? Kasi I have one experience nasa Bacolod pa ako, may churchmate ako. May pumunta sa kanila, no? Uso pa noon yung ano ba yung parang portfolio? Attache case, no? Uso pa noon yung attache case. May nagpunta daw sa kanila na lalaki na ano siya, yung very dignified. Mukhang lawyer, no? Yun pala liar. Bakit? May dala daw siya na attache case. Tapos ang ano daw niya na mag-iimbestiga daw siya sa BIR daw siya. Tapos nung nilapag niya yung attache case niya sa lamesa, nung binuksan niya may baril. Oh, and then may pinakita siya na pina-receive siya na notice doon sa ka-churchmate ko. And then nanghihingi siya ng pera. No? Oh, at that time napakalaki na ng 20,000, no? Nanghihingi siya ng pera. The client can say no. Bakit? Natatakot sila eh. Pinakitaan na sila ng baril. No? So, anong ginawa nila? Binigyan ng pera, tapos nag-verify sa BIR, wala yung ganong klaseng tao. No? Fake. That's why, without the letter of authority, hindi po kayo pwedeng examinin ng BIR. No? It is only through a letter of authority duly issued by the BIR and then duly represented also by the examiner na siya kanya na-assign, saka lang kayo pwedeng magpakita, mag-submit ng inyong mga books and records. Because your books and records are highly confidential. No? Hindi po yan available for public. No? So, kaya kayo, huwag nyo rin ginagawang public yung records nyo. Tago nyo. O, kasi confidential yan. Okay, next.
Next, ma'am, galing kay Ma'am Lilian Yao.
Okay po.
Ma'am, as lang po, kapag po nag-amend ng quarterly percentage tax ng third and fourth quarter,
Okay.
dapat rin po bang i-amend yung ITR ng 2020?
Ay, hindi po. Kung individual kayo, hindi. Kasi not affected naman yung tax rate ng individual. But if you are a corporation, yes. Bakit? Kasi di ba yung rate for income tax of corporation was also reduced. So, dapat ano din kayo, mag-amend. Pero, ang sabi mo na i-amend yung ITR kasi may effect yan doon sa claim ninyo ng expenses, di ba? Kasi kinlaim nyo yung taxes and licenses nyo, 3%, when in fact, bawasan nyo. In a way, dapat lang, the right talaga is you have to amend, no? Kasi, lumiit na lang dapat yung taxes and licenses ninyo na deductions dahil yung 3% ginawa na lang na 1%. No? And then you claim it as your carryover. So, dapat sabay. So, tama si Ma'am Lilian, na sabay din, i-amend mo yung income tax return. Okay.
Next po, ma'am.
Next.
Galing kay Gel 5.
Okay.
Paano po gagawin if nakapag-submit na ng 2551Q na first quarter sa BIR na lumang version daw po with 3% tax rate?
Okay.
Pero hindi pa po nagbabayad. Pwede pa po ba mag-submit
Yes,
ulit?
mag-amend na kayo, no? Wag mo nang gamitin yung sinubmit mo na return, you file another amended return para doon na yung tamang amount, yun na yung babayaran mo. Or, if you still have a carryover yung excess payment mo ng mga ibang quarters, then, i-apply mo na. No? Pero kung yung i-amend mo pa lang is the third quarter, so wala ka pang overpayment, then, doon ka na sa yung rate na lower. No?
1%.
Yes, 1% na.
Ito ang galing kay Miss J.
Okay.
Clarify lang po sa pag-amend ng third and fourth quarter percentage na need i-carry over.
Okay.
Alin po yung iti-take sa baba? Bawal po kasi sa option na carry over.
Kaya nga, walang carry over dyan. Tax credit or refund. Alam naman natin na ang tax credit, it will go through tedious process also of audit, no? At meron din yung, lalo na yung refund, no? And since itong nangyari ngayon, this is, kung baga sa this is not an ordinary or a regular happenings, no? Kaya nung gagawin nyo na lang dyan, ilagay nyo na negative, no? May excess or may overpayment. So, ang ginagawa naman ng iba, anong option ang check nila? Tax credit. Kasi bakit? Ano ba ang tax credit? I-apply mo siya sa tax liabilities mo. So, anong tax liabilities mo dyan? Percentage tax. Kaya nga i-apply mo siya sa future liabilities mo sa percentage tax. No? Kasi yung form natin hindi pa naman na-enhance. At saka para sa akin, hindi na rin dapat i-enhance kasi kung yung mga previous na yon na i-enhance mo pa starting July, no, 2020, yung pag-enhance po ng form ng BIR is very expensive, no? Kaya mapalagay ko ang amendment yan ng BIR, hindi na siya magre-retroactive ng 2020, current na. So what happened to the 2020? Kayo na mismo yung mag-a-adjust. Okay.
Next, ma'am, galing kay Sir Jeffrey Salceda.
Okay po.
Kapag po ba nagbayad sa bangko, no need na po i-submit online?
Yes. Ikaw, Hari, sagutin mo.
O no need na po kasi na-receive na po ng bangko yun. Kumukuha na rin sila nung kopya dun para i-ano sa BIR.
Anong i-ano?
I-transfer sa BIR. Tama ba, ma'am? Pero iba kasi gusto pa rin nila may tatak talaga ng BIR tsaka na-submit sa...
Hindi. Pagka corporation kasi, mandatory talaga na may tatak sa BIR yung 5 copies mo kasi papadala yan sa ECC. No? May tatak yan. Pero kung mga individual lang, no need na kasi yung tatak sa bangko is sufficient. No? Pero yung iba na corporations, papapatatak talaga yan sa BIR. Okay. So, depende po. Yung sabi mo na, kailan pa ba magpatatak? Yes, kung corporation. No, kung individual. Or, depending on your choice. Kasi, minsan, choice nyo rin yan. Halimbawa, yung individual nga, pero gagamitin nila sa bangko, and then the bank require na may tatak ng BIR. Then, pwede po kayo magpatatak sa BIR.
Ito ang galing kay Ma'am Julie Alfonso.
Okay po.
Kung ano daw pong form yung para sa file ng SLSP.
Ikaw, di ba version yan?
Yung VAT relief po. VAT
Okay.
relief, yan bang version ngayon?
Ay, pakita mo sa kanya kung saan siya papasok para makita niya yung form ng VAT relief. Sige.
Pakita ko sa kanya yung VAT.
Sige po. Sabihin mo, papasok ka sa website.
Apo. Ganito po yung para mag-file ng summary list of sales and purchases. So,
Nandyan yung form ha. Then pakita mo sa kanya paano yan i-fill up.
apo, i-set ko lang.
ang form po kasi, nasabi mo sa SLSP, summary list of purchases for the information ng mga viewers natin. Yung summary list of sales and purchases, that is a mandatory requirement po. Yung ang tinatawag na VAT relief, no? And when we say VAT relief, that is the reconciliation of listing for enforcement. That is a special database po ng BAR na lahat ng sales, lahat ng purchases of a VAT-registered person dinideposit doon o ginagawa ng data warehouse wherein lahat ng purchases mo, lahat ng binili mo this month, lahat ng mga binenta mo this month, nandoon may record. And after that, after filing for a certain period, gagawa na ngayon ng ano ba yung tawag doon na magtatrabaho na mismo yung software ng BIR doon. Anong gagawin niya? Nagre-reconcile siya or gumagawa siya ng third-party notices. Nire-reconcile niya yung sales and purchases ng same tin. Itong halimbawa yung tax identification number kasi yun ang ginagamit nila pag nag-match. No? Halimbawa may tax identification number ka, but registered person ka, meron kang dineclare na sales during the month. Ito yung mga customer mo with the same tin. No? So, ika-capture niyan ngayon ng system ng BAR and then hahanapin niya yung tin noong nag-purchase at titingnan niya kung yung nag-purchase sa iyo, dineclare niya naman yung purchases na ginawa niya doon sa kanyang summary list of sales and purchases. Kaya nga ang tawag doon, VAT relief, no? Reconciliation of listing for enforcement. So, nag-declare ka ng sales, yun bang nag-purchase sa iyo, nag-declare din ba siya ng purchases, no? O kaya, the other way around, nag-purchase ka, di-declare mo ba yan as purchases? Kasi, imamatch naman yan doon sa supplier kung dineclare din naman niya yung kanyang sales, no? So, yun yung purpose ng summary list of sales and purchases. That is intended for VAT relief. At may sariling warehouse po dyan ang BAR, sariling system, no? Okay, nandyan na?
Dito na, ma'am.
Sige.
So, ito po papakita ko po sa inyo kung paano po ma-download yung VAT relief ng BIR.
Okay.
So, yan, punta lang po kayo sa website po ng BIR. And then, sa left side po, hanapin nyo po yung downloadables.
Okay.
And po, click nyo po yung downloadables. And then, wait lang po. Yan, pag-click nyo po yung sa downloadables, may kita nyo, hanapin nyo po dyan yung relief version. Ito po yung latest nila, yung 2.3.
Okay.
So, click nyo po yan and then download nyo po yung exe file. So, after ma-download nyan, i-install nyo po. And then, ito po yung itsura niya kapag na-install nyo na siya. Wait lang po. Ayan, ito po yung relief version niya. So, gagawa po kayo dyan ng username nyo tsaka password para makapasok kayo sa mismong system. Then, yung first step nyo po dyan, yun po yung i-input nyo po yung owner's information nyo.
Okay.
Ng company na gagawan nyo ng SLSP. So, yan, after nyan, yun, pwede na kayo mag-input dito ng inyong sales.
Okay.
Yan, select nyo lang po dito kung anong month yung ipa-file nyo and kung anong year. And then, click nyo lang po yung add or and update. And then, dyan na po, magbe-base kayo dun sa resibo nyo.
Okay.
Na sa info na ilalagay nyo dito. So, for example, dito sa sales, click nyo po yung add, yun, yung TIN number niya, TIN number nung taxpayer. Tapos yung registered name kapag corporation po yun, galing yung resibo or last name, first name, at middle name pag non-individual. Tapos yun yung address. Tapos lagay niyo po dito yung gross taxable na amount nung based doon sa resibo.
Okay.
And then after that po, yun na po, lagay niyo po dito kung yung exempt tapos zero rated, tapos taxable. So for example, yung gross taxable niya is, for example, 500. Pag nilagay nyo yung VAT rate niya dyan na 12%, so, ayun, automatic na nang i-compute yung total output tax.
Okay.
So, save nyo lang po yan. Yan, nag-error siya kasi hindi kumpleto yung ano kayo, yung information. So, yun, after nyo ma-save yun na, i-generate, inquire or print nyo na yung ano, yung transaction na nagawa nyo.
Okay.
Yan, select nyo dyan kung anong kung anong month tsaka taxable year yung gusto nyong i-generate or i-print.
Okay.
And then yan, lalabas na dito. So, since wala akong in-input, kaya blanco.
Okay.
So, yun. Click nyo yung print. Excel report pala. Yan, may lalabas dyan na Excel report. And then, parang yun na yung pinakang format ng SLSP nyo.
Okay.
Apo, yun po. Same lang din po yun para dun sa purchases.
Okay.
Pero, aside from printing, kailangan nyo rin siyang i-generate yung BIR file niya, yung .dot file. Na yun yung kailangan nyo i-submit through e-submission. Yun lang po.
Okay. So, sige. Thank you very much.
Okay naman.
Okay. Sige, next question.
Next question po galing kay Miss J. Sa pag-amend po ng third quarter, line 17,
Okay.
specifying tama po ba na carry over excess percentage tax
Mm.
paid from previous quarter ilalagay?
Opo, paid from previous quarter. Tama po. Tama po. Kasi may ano diyan, may portion talaga diyan ang akin na nga yung ano Haris sandali. Yung form. Yun know. Tama po 'yun. Kasi yun yung sinasabi natin na paid from previous files, no? Ano yung sabi niya doon na sige, sige. Sige na, sige na. So, 100.
Quarter, line 17.
Sige. So, tingnan natin yung line 17. Line 17. 2551Q, tama po ba yung ano nyo sa 2551Q, quarterly percentage tax return, page 1.
Line 17. Kung tama daw po ba na carry over excess percentage tax paid?
Sandali ha. Kasi ang ilalagay mo dito is other tax credit or payment specify. So, pwede mo siyang ilagay na yung sabi mo na carry over. Tingnan natin. Kasi dito sa total tax payable, line number 14, we have total tax due and then less tax credit. So, ano nakalagay dito? Creditable percentage tax withheld per BIR form number 2307, yun yung mga withholding. No? And then, meron tayo dito na tax paid in return previously filed if this is an amended return. Kaya nga, nag-amend tayo. So, ano sabi natin pag amended return? You have to attach the previously filed or the original return. No? And then, dito sa 17, other tax credit or payment, specify. So, nakalagay dito yung sabi mo na carry over. Pwede rin kasi sabi ko nga sa inyo, hindi naman to regular na occurrence na nagkakaroon tayo ng reduced rate which is retroactive. Kaya pwede na dyan, no? I-specify nyo. At ano yung magiging legal basis nyo? RA 11534, no? So, pwede po ninyong ilagay dyan sa line number 17 and then others, and then specify, lagay nyo na overpayment per RA 11534. No. Okay. Sige. Next.
Next po, ma'am. Galing kay Marjun Miranda.
Okay.
Kung wala pong income or transaction sa business, in a particular day, kailangan rin bang nakalag yun sa book of accounts?
Yes po.
Or
Yes
yung
po.
mga araw na may transactions lang ang kailangan?
Yes po. Kung walang transactions, lagay nyo dyan, no transaction. No? But in the days na may transactions, then you have to specify the transactions, the OR number or the sales invoice that you issued, the name of the customer, yung usual na um, nandun sa book nyo, no? Yung, di ba, if you are a VAT registered person, you have a subsidiary sales book, no? So, ilagay nyo doon. Kung kayo naman ay non-VAT, then you have the cash receipt or cash disbursement. Then, kung wala kang business transactions, lagay mo doon na no transactions. Pagka meron naman, ilagay mo doon sa cash receipt book mo kung magkano yung na-receive mo during the day. Kasi ang recording po natin is daily, no? So during the day, lagyan mo yung mga days na wala ka din, lagyan mo diyan na no transaction. Oh, that's the proper way of recording your transaction. Okay. Next.
Next, ma'am, galing kay Sir MJ.
Okay.
Bookkeeper ko pina-audit ang FS ko.
Okay.
Above 3 million receipts. Tama po ba na auditor report
Yes.
report na may signature ng CPA?
Yes po. Kasi yung 3 million below, wala nang CPA auditor's report. Pero yung may 3 million, above 3 million pala, no? Hindi 3 million na, above 3 million requires already an audit certificate, no? From the CPA. Okay, next.
Yun nga, ma'am. Tuloy ko lang, ma'am, yung na may signature ng CPA, BIR accredited. Yun lang daw ang binigay, pero wala naman signature ang FS ko. Tama po ba yun?
Ay, yung FS, hindi na po yan pinipirmahan. Yung audit certificate po yung may pirma. No? Yung auditor certificate ang may pirma. Yung FS, hindi na po yan pinipirmahan. Unless you need it for PCAB. Ang PCAB kasi nagre-require na each and every page of the financial statement and even the tax return should be signed by the auditor. Pero for BIR purposes, anong sabi niya? Should be accompanied by an auditor certificate or the CPA certificate. Accompanied lang. Hindi niya pipirmahan lahat. Okay. Next.
Next, ma'am, galing kay Marjun.
Okay.
Online seller po ako. Every time merong sale, nakakatanggap ako ng e-receipt.
Okay na.
Kailangan bang i-print ang e-receipt
Yes.
in case hanapin sa tax audit or pwedeng soft copy lang para sa proof of sale?
Hindi. Hindi. Ang bookkeeping talaga po dyan, pagka electronic records ka, may backup ka. So, anong gagawin mo? You print it ng hard copy and at the same time, you also keep it as soft copy. No? Yun po talaga ang dapat. Okay. May soft copy ka and at the same time, you have a hard copy.
Galing kay Marcela Quinto.
Okay.
Ma'am, may IFRS 16 daw po ba tayo na training?
Wala pa yung sa list. No, yung list, yung mga right to use. So, actually, yung IFRS 16, that is list, that is an intangible, no? Yung right to use na mga assets. Requirement yun eh. Pero wala pa po. Wala pa. Kasi we're still busy. Marami pa kami transfer pricing po na report na gagawin. Kaya, alam nyo, napakarami pang dapat gawin. But constrained din tayo dahil na nga itong COVID, tsaka nag-limit tayo ng employee kasi na ano tayo yung affected din tayo dun sa lockdown, no? So, hindi pa tayo talaga normal, no? But, wala pa po tayo nakaschedule. Siguro, mga later. Pero, right now, please read IFRS 16. No? Basahin mo yung IFRS 16 para ma-enlighten ka. No? Kasi, ano yan, very technical yung standard na yan. No? Pero, kailangan natin yan because digitized na tayo ngayon. No? So, IFRS 16. Okay. Next.
Next po, ma'am, galing kay JV Mar.
Okay.
Ma'am, yung nag-audit, nagpupunta po ba yun sa establishment ng business or kami na magpupunta sa RDO?
Alam nyo, when I was assigned in Cebu, Kasi nga ang ano namin doon is Visayas Mindanao. Ang ginagawa ng mga kasama ko is only table audit. No, halimbawa, meron silang taxpayer sa Iloilo. Yung taxpayer nila, pinapupunta nila sa Cebu. No, hindi sila pumupunta. Depende po kasi yan sa examiner eh. Pero ako, no, I don't like na table audit. Talagang nag-o-ocular ako. Pumupunta talaga ako. Kasi yung isang kasama ko, takot siya sumakay ng eroplano. Kaya hindi siya pumupunta. Nung kasama na niya ako, napasakay ko siya sa eroplano. Why? Sabi ko, ano ka, huwag ka matakot sa eroplano. Why? Because pag umupo ka sa eroplano, matulog ka na lang. Bakit? Ibigay mo yung buhay mo sa mga kamay ng piloto. No? Bakit? Kasi kahit anong gagawin mo, wala ka na magawa. You are, ang buhay ng isang flight, nasa kamay ng piloto yan eh. So, since wala ka namang magawa dyan, anong gagawin mo for those things that you cannot control? Let it be. You know? So, anong gagawin mo? Matulog ka. Sabi ko, tulog tayo. Yun, natuto na siyang sumakay sa eroplano. Pero ang ginagawa niya talaga, table audit, hindi pumupunta sa taxpayer. Pero ako, ayoko nang hindi pumupunta. Why? Because when you go to the taxpayer and do operations audit and ocular inspection, yung makikita mo will say it all. No? Hindi lang kasi dokumento, wala, mag-imagine ka lang dyan. Pero kung nandun ka sa actual ng place of operations, pumupunta pa nga ako sa mga, yung mga milling, no? Tinitingnan ko paano yung process. Kaya nahilig ako sa transfer pricing because transfer pricing is economic taxation, deals with the activities of the taxpayers. No? Ang ino-audit mo yan, activity of the taxpayers. Kaya na madali ko siyang nagustuhan because yun yung talagang gusto ko. No? Na pag nag-audit ka, puntahan mo talaga. No? Yung tanong mo na pumupunta ba yung examiner, depende. No? And sometimes, ano natin, bookkeeping regulations natin, VIDAS 1, which is the mother of the bookkeeping regulations, nakalagay doon na yung pag-audit, pagbigay ng dokumento, dalawa ang option, pwedeng sa office ng BAR, pwedeng sa place of the taxpayer or the business place ng taxpayers. At whose option? At the option of the taxpayer. So pwede kayong mag-request sa examiner na magpapa-audit kayo sa BAR or pwede rin sa place of business ninyo. No? Pag tinanong nyo ako, which do you prefer? May iba na gusto nila sa BAR lang. Ayaw nilang papuntahin yung examiner sa place of business nila. Bakit? Kasi marami makikita. No? Halimbawa, yung gross sales mo is only 100,000 or 1 million. Nung pumunta yung examiners, yung trucks mo, 100 plus. Oh, paano ka maniwala na 1 million lang yung sales mo? No, kasi masasize up mo na kaagad yung laki ng business. So, yung iba ayaw magpakita. So, depende po yan. Agreement naman yan, and then the option is with the taxpayer. Okay.
Next po ma'am, galing kay Hilda Rodriguez.
Okay.
Ask ko lang po paano po i-correct yung wrong tin na na-print sa sales invoice.
Pa-cancel nyo po talaga yan. Or, request the BAR to stamp it with the correct tin. No? Kasalanan niya ng printer. Actually, dapat ma-penalize niya ang printer. Why? Kasi ang printer ngayon are accredited by the BAR. So, bawal magkamali po sa tin. Imagine, gamitin mo yung invoice naka-tin sa iba. Pag may mga discrepancy yung sales, yung may-ari ng tunay na tin, sila yung mapadalan. No? Mortal sin po yung magkakamali sa tin. No? So, hindi po pwede. Okay. Ano yun, Hari?
Butiki, dalawang butiki. Next ma'am, galing kay Miss J. Clarify lang po yung percentage tax po na 1%. Applicable po ba ito sa lahat, like sole proprietor, or applicable lang po ito sa corporation?
Yung 1% ng percentage sa lahat po. No? No, it doesn't matter if you are a corporation or you are an individual. As long as subject po kayo sa percentage tax, then the percentage tax from 3% is now 1%, no? So it's for all taxpayer na percentage tax. Whether corporation or individual, pareho lang. Next.
Apo. Next ma'am, galing kay Malu Sintos.
Okay.
Sa battery leave, i-input siya monthly,
Hindi po.
January and February.
Hindi po. Ang preparation po ng summary list of sales is on a quarterly basis.
Apo.
Pero since quarterly basis siya, so 3 months ang laman po ng summary list of sales and purchases nyo. Okay.
Yun ma'am, sabi niya, pagdating po ba ng March, ang i-input na figure ay accumulated total ng first quarter, January to March. Then, sasubmit sa e-submission.
Sige, sagutin
Tapos,
mo.
yung validation ng January, February, March, ang attach sa quarterly VAT form.
Oh, may monthly validation ba yan? Quarterly lang yung filing?
Apo, quarterly lang.
Wala pong validation monthly and you are not supposed to file a summary list of sales and purchases on a monthly basis. Wala po. Walang monthly na summary list of sales and purchases, only quarterly. Next.
Apo, next po ma'am, sabi ni LV Galanido,
Okay.
hindi ko po malocate ang PT 010 percentage tax na 80C siguro to ma'am na 1%.
ATC Alpha Numeric Tax Code, okay.
Siguro po hindi nyo pa na-update yung EBIR forms nyo sa 7.9.
Okay. Yung 7.9 version po yung gamitin ninyo kasi yun na yung enhanced for the create law, no? Kaya na-enhance yan because nagkaroon nga ng create law, Republic Act 11534. Kaya pagka gumawa kayo ngayon, use the 7.9 version. No?
Sabi niya, EBIR form 7.9 na po yung na-download ko.
Oh, so ano yung hindi niya
Opo, kasi yan, nandun pa rin kasi yung luma ma'am, yung 3% na ATC eh.
Oh.
Pero dalawa siya, meron siya sa pinakataas, yung PT 010. Yun yung 3%. So, check niya yung sa pinakadulo, pinakababa na
Okay.
ATC. Nandun yung isang PT 010 na isa pa, yun yung 1%.
Okay.
Opo, so try niyo po i-check ma'am LV. Opo, kasi na-try ko na siya may 1% siya. Nasa pinakababa ng ATC.
Sige. Okay, next.
Next ma'am, galing kay Miss J. Kung hindi po nakapag-amend ng third and fourth
Quarter.
at ngayong first quarter 2021, pwede pa rin po ba mag-amend sa second quarter na lang?
Pwede po, pero hindi yun shortcut wala tayong shortcut. Pag nag-amend ka, kung halimbawa ang in-amend mo is the third quarter, you amend it na ang i-check mo doon yung third quarter. Kasi hindi ka pwede mag-amend na lahat ng quarters mo, i-amend mo lang minsanan. Hindi po pwede. Bawat isa. Kung halimbawa third quarter, mag-amend ka ng third quarter. Fourth quarter, i-amend mo rin yung fourth quarter. Kasi bakit you have to amend it on a monthly basis? Kasi i-input mo yung preceding Halimbawa, sa fourth quarter, i-input mo yung excess or overpayment mo noong third quarter. So, hindi pwede na doon ka lang sa first quarter mag-amend. I-amend mo talaga siya isa-isa. Anytime naman pwede po mag-amend. Wala po yung bawal. Bawal lang kung meron ka ng letter authority. Pero as long as wala ka pang letter of authority for audit, pwede pang mag-amend po ng returns. Percentage tax. Next.
Opo, next po ma'am, galing kay Rodora Constantino.
Okay.
Tanong ko po yung aming OR to print pa po. Di pa po tapos. Di pa tapos expired po last April 19.
25,000.
Pwede pa po ba gamitin yung dating OR kapag may sales kami ngayon?
Bawal na po. Pagka ginamit mo yon as if, kung expired na as if walang resibo, it is tantamount also to non-issuance. Ako, nagbayad na ako kasi mislook ko rin yung resibo. So, nagbayad ako 25,000 penalties. Okay.
Next ma'am, galing kay Chloe Faborada.
Okay.
Need po ba may auditor's report ang na-file na audited ITR with 700,000 revenue only.
Hindi na. Hindi na po kailangan. Kasi yung 3 million and below, hindi na po kailangan ng audited na FS, no? Meaning, audited ng ng CPA. Pero baka yung sinasabi mo naman na kailangan pa ng financial statement na attachment, kailangan din po, no? Kasi sa 700,000 mo, meron ka na diyang balance sheet, income statement, statement of changes in owner's equity, at saka cash flow, at saka notes to financial statement, no? Meron na rin po yan. Hindi nga lang siya audited na audit ng CPA, pero yung standard na financial statement, dapat meron ka rin. So, do not confuse it na audited financial statement at saka yung auditor's report, magkaiba yon. Yung sinasabi mo na hindi na kailangan yung audit certificate ng CPA. Pero yung financial statement, kailangan pa rin i-attach. Hindi na nga lang siya audited. Oh. Okay. Next.
Wala nang question, madam.
Wow. Nakailang ano tayo? Nakailang
Oras, ma'am.
oras?
1 hour 45 minutes na po.
Okay. So, palagay ko naman okay na kasi sasawa na rin yung ating mga viewers. Ilan pa yung viewers natin?
45 viewers po.
Okay. So, for the 45 viewers, shout out po sa inyong lahat. Thank you for watching, no? And then, paalala lang, doon po sa discussions natin kanina, ano-ano yung mga dapat ninyo, no? Isulat nyo to kasi anyway, interested naman na kayo sa tax. So, ano yung mga titingnan ninyo para doon sa tax audit, no? Revenue Regulations 22-2020, ito yung pinaka-latest natin. Tingnan nyo yan because you want to know more about tax audit. And then, meron tayong yung original na sabi ko sa inyo na amen na yung ibang provisions, pero yung karamihan ng provisions still existing, yung Revenue Regulations number 12-99. No? Kasi nandoon pa pati yung tinatawag natin na yung best evidence obtainable, no? Revenue Regulations 12 na 1999, and then yung kasunod yung Revenue Regulations 18-2013, no? Tingnan nyo rin yan. And then yung Revenue Regulations 7-2018, no? So yan po, if you want to know more about tax audit, at ano yung mga number of days na bibigyan kayo ng allowance to answer, yan, tingnan po ninyo yung mga sinasabi ko sa inyo na revenue regulations, no? Paano ninyo ma-access yung revenue regulations? Pupunta lang po tayo sa BIR website, www.bir.gov.ph, and then, anong gagawin natin? Doon sa kung nakatingin tayo sa computer, dito sa left side banda, so nakalagay doon yung mga revenue regulations. So titingnan natin doon. So kung halimbawa yung hinahanap mo, Revenue Regulations 12-99, ipindot mo yung Revenue Regulations tapos pindot mo yung previous, no? Kasi mag-a-appear siya yung 1999. Pagka naman yung kailangan mo yung 2020, nandun na sa face talaga yung 2020 na Revenue Regulations. I-click nyo lang yun and then lalabas na lahat ng regulations. So hanapin or piliin nyo na lang yung 22-2020. And then ang ginagawa ko dyan, i-print nyo. No? Para hindi na isang hawak nyo na lang itong lahat ng mga sinasabi ko doon, i-print nyo. And then pagsamasamahin nyo so that may ready reference na kayo. No? Okay. So, Oh, sige. Sige. Kasi wala pa naman tayong 2 hours eh. Okay. So, next.
Humabol, ma'am. Si Miss J. Sabi niya, ma'am, yung mga previous filed returns po ba, like 2018,
Okay.
kung i-amend ngayong 2021 at may nakita lang na mali, may penalty na po ba?
Kung walang amount due, walang tax payable, wala na pong late filing or walang penalties. Pero kung may tax due pa siya, since yung deadline for the payment of the tax due is already passed, nagkakaroon siya ng penalty. Pero kung wala namang consequence na tax due, wala po kayong babayaran, no? Actually, naabutan ko pa yung dati na when you amend the return, wala pong penalty kahit may babayaran ka pa, you still pay the basic. Kasi ano sabi ng BAR, kasi hindi naman yan intentional eh, nagbayad ka, nag-amend ka, kinorect mo lang, so it is voluntary still in your part, so hindi sila nag-a-amend ng penalties. But lately, meron na. Bakit? Kasi computerized na. Nung nag-computerize na yung BIR, automatic compute yung computer ng penalty pagka due na, after due date ka na magbabayad, no? So, anong nangyayari sa amended return ngayon? Nagbabayad na rin ng penalties. Pero dati wala po yan doon sa manual. No? Naabutan ko pa yun na pag nag-file ka ng amended return and then may tax due, wala pong penalty.
Next, ma'am, sabi po ni Rodora
Okay.
Constantino, nasa printing press na po yung ATP.
O, habulin mo.
Di pa lang po tapos nila i-print, nakapag-submit na po sa BIR.
Okay. So it is between the printer and you. Kayo na lang yung mag-usap. So, siguro kung meron kang mga sales na dapat issue, pakiusapan mo na lang muna yung customer mo na sabihin mo, yung talagang pinaka-official, since nandun pa sa printing, hintay-hintay lang sila. No? Papakiusapan naman.
Next, ma'am, galing kay Julie Alfonso.
Okay.
Tanong po, VAT register po, ang pinafile po 2550M tsaka 2550Q
Okay.
at 1701Q.
Okay.
Ano daw po yung pagkakaiba ng 2550Q at 1701Q? Ganun din naman po manggagaling sa 2550M yung mga data na i-input sa 2550Q at 1701Q.
Ano yung pagkakaiba nila?
Opo.
Yung start muna tayo sa 2550M, no? Kasi ang frequency of filing po ng VAT is monthly and quarterly, no? Kaya nga na-confuse kanina si ma'am doon sa summary list of sales and purchases, na sabi niya cumulative at saka yung monthly, no? Ang VAT po kasi is very technical. I tell you. Ang VAT is very technical na ang tawag nga sa ibang bansa ng VAT is very angry taxpayer. Why? Kasi because of the technicality ng VAT, no? So, ang VAT, you file monthly and quarterly. So, yung monthly sa isang quarter, dalawang monthly ang ipafile mo, and then yung last month is quarterly, cumulative, no? Pag sinabi mo cumulative, it contains the previous 2 months na sales, no? Although ngayon ginawa na naman nila yung 1601 cube, di ba? Ginawa na rin quarterly at saka may monthly. Parang ginaya na rin nila sa VAT, no? So, pagdating sa quarterly na VAT, ito ang tandaan natin ha, 2550M first month, 2550M second month, 2550Q for the third month, no? Since quarterly na yung VAT, may another obligation pa kayo. Ano yun? 1701Q, yung quarterly na income. No? So, anong pagkakaiba nila? Ang pagkakaiba nila sa 2550Q, di ba yung declaration mo dyan is VAT. So, nandyan yung net of VAT, nandyan yung VAT amount, nandoon yung total sales na inclusive ng VAT. Pero, pagdating po sa 1701Q, net of VAT yan. So, ibig sabihin, hindi sila magpare-pareho ng total or ng mga information disclosed because ang sa 1701Q, hindi kasama yung VAT dyan, net of VAT. So, pag nag-declare ka dyan ng sales, net of VAT. So, halimbawa, yung total sales mo with the VAT inclusive is 100,000. Pagdating na sa income tax, hindi 100,000 ang i-declare mo doon. Tanggalin mo yung 12% na VAT. So, kung doon sa 100,000 kasama na yung VAT, tanggalin mo yung 12%, so 88,000 lang yung i-declare mo sa 1701Q, no? So, yun po yung pagkakaiba nila. Next.
Next po, ma'am. Galing kay Brenda Suwa.
Okay.
Pwede po ba gamitin yung OR yearly new booklet kahit hindi pa ubos yung isang booklet? Wala po bang penalty yun?
Actually, wala naman, pero ang requirement po natin sa bookkeeping that you have to issue your receipts in a consecutive basis or sequential. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, kung hindi pa ubos yung resibo mo, dapat hindi ka muna mag-issue nung ibang booklet. Kasi mag-overlap yung kanilang mga dates. No? Halimbawa, in-issue mo yung 030 April. Tapos yung 070, ibang booklet na yun eh. In-issue mo rin ng April, meron ka pang mga open pa na so hindi na sequential. Yung pinaka-violation dyan, pinaka-minimum na violation dyan is 1,000 ang penalty. Sa isang resibo kung marami ang resibo, isang booklet yan, di 50,000. Okay. Next.
Next po, ma'am, galing kay WW.
Okay.
Can the examiner have access or authority to check one person's PayPal account payments during the audit?
Ngayon pwede na po. Kaya tingnan nyo yung mga YouTubers natin na may mga Google account na halahari. I-update mo pala yung basic transfer pricing natin at saka yung tax record. No? Kasi nag-withhold na po yung Google, yung YouTube, no? Nag-withhold na sila. So yung sabi mo na check yung PayPal, yes, kasi digitized na tayo eh. And syempre government, they can always retrieve or request. No? Magkakaroon lang sila ng request, susulat yung commissioner sa PayPal, retrieving this amount or verifying this amount. Pwede po. Lalo mabilis because digitized, computerized. Sige. Next.
Next po, ang galing kay Miss J. Ma'am, kailan po nag-effect yung 1,000 compromise? Anong taon po nag-start?
Ang compromise po kasi is the agreement between the BIR at the taxpayer. Yung 1,000 na compromise, matagal na yan. Actually, nasa tax code na yan. Ang tax code natin is 1997. Pero na-amend yan ng mga iba't ibang revenue regulations na tinaasan na yan, yung iba binibase na nila sa gross. No? Pero since compromise nga yan, napapakiusapan, saan kayo makiusap? Doon sa officer of the day, pag hindi kaya ng officer of the day, sa RDO na or sa assistant RDO, where you are registered. Kasi ang compromise nga, pwede yang i-waive eh. Bakit? Kung justifiable yung reason ng taxpayer, kung bakit siya na late, kung bakit siya na hindi niya nakapag-comply, and if it is justifiable, so yung 1,000 na penalty pwedeng i-waive. Pero depende na yan sa RDO. Next.
Next, ma'am, galing kay Gionito Avenido.
Okay.
Ma'am, yung 2020 po na 2550Q last quarter, hindi ako nakagawa. But
2550Q i-BAT.
Apo.
Okay.
Pero naka-file ako ng 2550M sa month of December.
Mali.
Q dapat.
Hindi, kasi meron na tayong fiscal year and calendar year. Meron na tayong fiscal quarter ngayon. So, if you are a corporation and then yung fiscal year mo is February, so of course, yung fiscal quarter mo is ending February din. So, count ka ng 3 months pabalik. So, February, January, December. Yun ang last quarter mo. Yan ang fourth quarter mo. December, January, February. No? Pero kung individual ka, calendar year lang po pwede. So, yung first quarter mo is January to March, second quarter mo is April to June, third quarter mo is July to September, and then fourth quarter mo is October to December. Yun lang pwede for the individual. So, hindi ka nag-file ng quarterly, penalty ka na, may open case ka na. No? So, i-file mo na kahit late. Okay. Next. Wala na?
Yung nga ma'am, sabi niya, hindi ko po kasi alam na 2550Q yung nagagamitin for December.
Opo.
Last quarter.
So, i-humble mo na para hindi natatagal. At saka kung nagka-open case ka man, at least makuklose na siya. Okay? So, wala na?
Ito ma, meron pa kay Alan Russell Reyes.
Okay.
Opo, online retail sale via mail or telephone business po ako.
Mm.
Non-VAT taxpayer. Tax type ko po ay ITR, annual registration at
Percentage.
percentage tax
Yes.
or optional to
Option rate.
8% annual
Mm.
tax.
Mm.
Official receipt lang po ni required ni BIR.
Ano ka ba? Sale of goods or sale of services? Pagka kasi ang business mo is sale of goods, dapat sales invoice. Pagka sale of services, dapat official receipt. No? Hindi natin pwedeng baguhin yan kasi ano yan eh, batas. Republic Act 9337. So, anong gagawin natin? Kung ikaw kasi ang mag-determine, ang BIR, nagsasuggest lang po yan. No? Pero since kayo talaga yung taxpayer at kayo nakakaalam ng nature of your business, so dapat alamin din natin yung batas kasi yung BIR nagbibigay lang yan ng suggestion. Kayo talaga ang magde-determine. So since may batas tayo na sale of goods is sales invoice, sale of services is official receipt, then paggawa po kayo ng official receipt at saka sales invoice if you have both. No? Pero kung sale of goods lang, then sales invoices lang paggawa nyo. Pero kung services lang din kayo, then official receipt lang paggawa ninyo.
Sabi po ni Sir Junito Avenido, but registered daw po siya, then calendar year po at hindi corporation.
Okay.
Ano po gagawin ko sa month of December na binayaran ko po sa na 2550
I-amend nyo po yun. Hindi nga amended yun eh. Basta mag-file na lang kayo ulit ng 2550Q. No? Kasi hindi mo masabing amended yun. Kasi when we say amended, meron ka na original return filed and then kinorect mo lang or nag-file ka lang ulit. Pero in your case, hindi ka talaga nag-file ng 2550Q. Mali yung pinail mo. Kaya hindi mo siya pwedeng sabihin na in-amend mo yun. Mag-file ka talaga. Kasi ang hahanapin sa iyo ng system, yung Q eh, hindi naman yung M. So, you file the new 2550Q para ma-close ka, hindi ka ma-open case.
Next ma'am,
Okay.
pag in-amend po ba considered na late filing?
Yes po. Considered na late filing. Yun yung sabi ko sa inyo na dati walang penalties pero due to computerized system na yung BAR, automatic na nagko-compute ang system. That's why may penalty na ang amended returns. Kasi sa amended returns kasi you pay after the due date.
Sabi niya, ma'am, may na-file kasi ako, ma'am, 2018 na fourth quarter. 2021 yung nalagay. Tapos, 2551Q fourth quarter 2018. Tapos, 2019 yung year
Alam
na
nyo,
nilagay.
matalino yung computer, pero hindi niya kasi babaguhin kung ano yung final nyo. Di ba, yung 2018, ginawa mo yung 2021, 2021 din i-record yan ng computer. Hindi niya babaguhin. So, sino dapat ang magbago para makorek? Kayo, no? So, you file the correct para tama yung nasa record ng computer. Okay.
Sabi ni Sir Gionito Avenido, tapos daw ba, ma'am, magbabayad daw ba ulit siya sa 2550Q?
Kung may binayad ka doon sa December na payment na yun, pwede mo gamitin yun kasi pasok na rin sa BIR yun eh. All you have to do is to attach the return na may payment ka. So, pagbabayad ka po talaga uli, especially kung may excess or may kulang.
Wala bang penalty sa pag-amend ng 2551Q ng third at fourth quarter amended due to create?
Wala po. Wala po. Kasi batas yan eh. No? Paano mo i-penalize yung batas? Batas po yan. No? So, wala. Although yung computer mag-create siya kasi system yan. Pero sa totoo lang, i-disregard mo yan kasi wala po. Walang babayaran. Walang penalty.
Next, ma'am, galing kay Ayas YouTube.
Okay.
Hindi po ba pwede i-settle yung tax due via PayMaya or other payment channels if may problem yung bank?
Ikaw.
Via Land Bank, EFTS filer po ako.
Kung EFPS filer ka, meron kasi kayong enrolled na bank sa EFPS. Pwede po, pero maghingi kayo ng permit sa EFPS. Kasi sabi ko nga sa inyo, may sariling database ang EFPS. Kaya they require you to have a bank na accredited nila. Kasi doon na nakalink yung system nila. So, kung suddenly magkaroon ka ng PMI or what, you ask for a permission sa kanila. Next.
Wala na po, ma'am.
Okay, so with that, I would like to say thank you po sa ating mga viewers and thank you din sa ating mga subscribers. Thank you very much and let's call it a night.